So having an email on our home screen is great, but on Twitter, you could do a little bit more than that. First, you could have your name on Twitter, and you can also have a profile picture. Now, we want to add these features or these data pieces into our user state so that we can use those throughout our application. Now, to do that, first, we need to go to our models. So this is the information coming directly from Firebase. You will want to add a string with name and a string with profile picture. This string will actually be just a website link. So the website link is right here. It's going to be below this video. You can use it yourself, but it's a default image from this website called gravatar.com. So we're going to use this link and we're going to create a image using a widget called network image with this. So we want to make sure all of these fields are required. So using the data class generator, we could do control or command period, create a data class. It will rewrite all these with all the new information we have. So the Firebase part is taken care of, but you'll see we have errors everywhere now. I guess not everywhere, just mainly this user provider. Why? Because this is the source of truth for our state using this Firebase user, which is another benefit of the state management. You don't have to go through all these different files updating everything. You just do it in one single place. So default, we need to have a name. We'll say error. And profile pic, also error. Now, since we have this typed up, let me actually bring it into our logout, because this should have errors as well. Now let's walk through how our application really works. So we said this Firebase user gets created when we sign up. So we want to sign it up with default values here. For name, we're actually going to do no name at the beginning. The user will be able to update this eventually, but just to make sure we know what's working, what's not working, we'll do this. And profile picture, the default will be this link right here until the user changes it. Okay, that's good. Now, before during the signup function, we were just creating our own Firebase user. And we could definitely do that here. The name should be no name and the profile picture should be this link, but we're going to create our database as our source of truth. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're going to have to use it up here as well. So on our Firebase user data class, we created a from map function using the Dart data class generator. And in here, we could pass it our map that we retrieved from Firebase. Now, this is just a reference to the document, so it doesn't have all the data, but we can retrieve the data into a thing called document snapshot by doing await the response.get. So maybe the naming here is not the best, but this response is the reference to the document, and we can retrieve that data using a get function. So here we have snapshot.data, and Firebase defines this data as an object, but it's really a map. So we want to make sure we interpret it as a map with string, and what can come on the second half is dynamic. Okay, so we save that, and let's copy the same thing to our login. But here we actually do get the response, and the response is in the docs and 0. And one more error here, we have 2 commas. And there's another error here into the same 2 commas. Okay, so we have the new data in here right now. Let's make sure we have all the things we need to fill out here. So when we sign up, we create a new user, now with a name and a profile picture, and we set our state to that user. And we could also log in, and login doesn't actually write any data. We just want to read it, and we'll make sure we have all that data stored into our local user state. And then we're able to sign out and set it all to errors. So let's give it a shot. We need to sign up with a new email. We're going to do Titus4 now, because the other ones didn't go through this whole new sign up process. I will sign up, and we don't see the data because we're not displaying it, but we can go to home and it should be there. So we can copy this, we'll change the name, and we can actually just display that profile picture using a circle avatar with a background image of network image with this user provider, user.profile picture. Profile picture. Okay. So now we save it, and there we go. All our information is there. Now I should be able to sign out and log into that account and see all the information updated again. Perfect. And I think there should be one bug. So if we refresh, you'll see we still get error states. So why is that? If we go into our main function, we have this stream builder. So this listens to only the authentication stuff. Then if it does have the authentication stuff, it goes directly to the home screen without actually doing that login process. So what we want to do is change this to a consumer widget. Get the reference. And if we are authenticated, we want to go to our user provider, that notifier, and then log in. And we get the email from the snapshot of this current Firebase authentication, data, and email. So remember, this login function just retrieves the data and sets our state to this specific user provider that we have. So now we save it, and it gets brought in. We could refresh this time, and all our information comes in because we are authenticated with Firebase, and we just need to load that data into our user provider. So there we go. All our data, all our user data is being stored, and we're able to use it throughout our application. Now let's start building out this homepage a little bit, make it a little bit prettier.